As you all know by now, the Wii U and 3DS eShops are closing, and you know what? That is a huge bummer. There's some really great games on there, and specifically, they have really great digital-only games. They have really great, just their full library of games, and then really great virtual console games. Now, there's a little bit of contention because the virtual console aspect of this, when asked to Nintendo, which has been taken down, Nintendo said, "Hey, our Switch offerings are really great, and we're gonna have everything covered." But there's some gaps. There's some big gaps. In fact, there's a whole console gap with the fact that the Wii U even has DS and GBA games, which are not available currently on the Switch. So that said, this is a video to kind of discuss some of my personal highlights of the virtual console aspect of the Wii U specifically, and games I think you should definitely pick up, games that you can't get currently on the Switch. So there will be some stuff for, Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, definitely, obviously, the GBA, and other stuff like that. So let's go ahead and check out some of these games, because, this is some stuff that you're definitely going to want to try to pick up before these shops are closed and you cannot do it. Now, before we go too into this subject, I want to fully let you know that, I do not endorse piracy or any type of homebrewing shenanigans. You don't want me to be the guy to tell you that all you need for your Wii U is a flash drive and an SD card, which definitely don't cost more than $10 for both. I can't be the guy to endorse the fact that for less than $10, you could easily have all the games I'm going to talk about for free, especially if you utilize a thing called Wii U USB Helper. Don't even look that up. Don't even look up Wii U USB Helper. Why would you want to trouble yourself with the idea, the notion to burgle games, to take gold out of the mouth of Nintendo? It's insane. Don't even do it. You don't want to go there. You don't want to be that guy going to Wii U USB Helper with a flash drive and an SD card and doing that. No. But let's get to the games. So my goal with this video is to show you games that you can't get currently on the Switch, but you can get on the Wii U. And while the Wii U has a lot of overlap, especially in the Mega Man department, there's one glaring omission. And this is an omission that I brought up back when the Mega Man collections came out, and that is Mega Man and Bass. Like, Mega Man and Bass is such a good game. Granted, this is the GBA version, which I don't know how different it is from the original, like, Japanese Super NES version, but still super good. I mean, it's the only game where you can actually play like as Bass, and it's really like two separate games playing as both characters. Not only are their abilities entirely different, but their gameplay is different. Think like in Mega Man X, when you could play as Zero or Mega Man, like depending on which game you're playing. It's just like that, and personally I love playing as Bass. But I mean, this game is super duper solid, and once again, because there is no Game Boy or GBA emulation or version on the current Nintendo Switch online offerings, this is the only way to play this game. And I'll tell you what, there's quite a few GBA games on this list. Pretty much, in my opinion, any GBA game on this list you should get. But I mean, the ones I'm gonna say are some highlights, but we're definitely starting off with this one, starting strong. But this is not the last Mega Man game I want to talk about. These next games are actually the main reason I even started this video idea at all. The best way that you can currently play any of the Mega Man Battle Network games, I think, is on the Wii U. I mean, granted, if you have an analog pocket, that's an awesome way to do it. If you have one, I mean, you probably don't. And then the Game Boy player, it's hard to get such a nice upscaling, plus you still have to have the physical cartridge. These games are like $8 each, and you can get every version. 1, 2, both versions of 3, both versions of 4, both versions of 5, and both versions of 6. Mega Man Battle Network is like the most underrated GBA series in my opinion. I'm the biggest fan. I mean, I've made that clear many times on my channel, but this was actually, like I said, this is the main reason why I dug out my Wii U and started doing all this stuff, because these games are so damn good. In fact, on my Wii U menu, I made a folder just to keep all these in there separately so I could get to them faster. But I mean, the GBA was a powerhouse for RPGs, and this game series is no exception. That said, this also isn't the last set of GBA RPGs I'm going to have on my list. The Golden Sun series is a masterpiece. I hate that we have not gotten another one in the series or an HD collection, but Camelot knocked it out of the park with Golden Sun, and Golden Sun 1 and 2 are both available on the Wii U for digital download. And I'm telling you right now, these are some of the best RPGs I've ever played in my life, regardless of console. They're so good. The Jin system is awesome. The summons are cool as hell. You have to play these games. These, if you are a turn-based RPG fan, these are fantastic. I mean, it just feels right out of the Super Nintendo era. But, you know, it's a little bit better because, you know, you have more time for innovation in between the Super Nintendo and the GBA, even though they do run similar hardware. But my God, if you have not played these games, put these top on your list, especially if you're a huge JRPG fan like me. This is a series that you really, really need to look into. So I had no idea that this game is expensive now, kind of weird to me, but Zelda the Minish Cap, oh my gosh, if you love the top-down Zelda games, kind of like, you know, Ages, Seasons, or A Link to the Past, you are going to love Zelda the Minish Cap. It's one of the Capcom Zelda games, which have a very, very distinct level of quality. I mean, they are very good. None of them have disappointed me. And the Minish Cap is the same way. I remember getting the game at first and thinking like, oh, this is kind of weird because like his hat is kind of like a character. And you know, Nintendo wouldn't really revisit that idea until Mario Odyssey with Cappy, but it is cool. And like the idea of going like big to small and fighting, you know, what could be a normal enemy as a giant boss when you're tiny is just really cool. Solid game. You know, this came out around the time of Wind Waker, so there's a lot of crossover, kind of like how if you played Ages and Seasons, there's a lot of stuff that was Ocarina of Time inspired. Anyway, if you love that style of Zelda game, you cannot be slipping on this one, especially because a cartridge is, like I said, pretty expensive nowadays, so this is kind of probably one of the only ways you can reasonably play it. So this next game is actually my first GBA game I ever had, and that is Wario Land 4. This is such a good puzzle platformer, and you wouldn't think it, but the puzzles are pretty intense. Like every level has a vast amount of collectibles. Just to beat the game, you have to collect like these little tiles in every level, and then there's also like hidden music CDs and a special amount of like diamonds and riches. And of course, like all Wario games at the time, the more riches you get, the better your ending. Long story short, this game is awesome. It's not too long. But it's also not too short. I will say I think there's 16 levels, including like a start level, a tutorials type level. So you know you really get to go through it. But it's a solid game, and it's something that you know I can't recommend enough, especially because once again it's trapped to the GBA, so not many people really got to play this one. But it is a standout, very quality title. This is going to be the last of the GBA games on this list, only because I could literally just make a whole video on GBA games, and at this point I basically have. But Mario Kart Super Circuit is so good. So many people have actually played these courses with Mario Kart 8 because, you know, they took courses from all sorts of different games. But not many people have actually got to play Mario Kart Super Circuit itself in all of the different levels. It's so good. I've said before on earlier videos on my channel that I love the music. Specifically, the bass lines are like ripping in this freaking game. So fun though. It's a solid Mario Kart game. It really has like the reminiscent feel of like it's like halfway between Super Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64. I feel like it's more quality than Super Mario Kart, and obviously it doesn't have like the 3D kind of sprites of 64 because the GBA couldn't handle it. But just in general, very solid game, very solid maps, and that's why a lot of these maps, these courses, have been used in later games. I mean, the quality speaks for itself, but this is another game that you really don't want to be slipping on because, you know, it's just really fun. It's just really fun, really good quality. Now, if we're going to talk expensive games that are hard to get and only playable on, well, not only playable on the Wii U, but downloadable on the Wii U for a reasonable price, Metroid Prime Trilogy. And I say this only because I don't know if we're ever going to get a Metroid Prime Trilogy on the Switch at this point. I know it's rumored, I know it's supposed to maybe come out, but you know, Nothing has ever been confirmed. Hell, Metroid Prime 4 was like teased in like what, 2017, 2019? I don't even remember. But so long ago, and it was just a picture. Like, this is the way to play this game. I know, like, an actual copy of this game, hella expensive, but the downloadable version is something like 20 bucks. And oh my god, I mean, so good. This is a great collection of games, and very easily playable on the Virtual Console. Once again, I would love something like this to come to the Switch, but at this point, I just can't trust it. So I've been talking about consoles that aren't even on the Switch yet, but let's talk about stuff that is on the Switch, but these games don't exist for it, and I don't know why, for one reason or another. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But starting off with the Nintendo 64, 1080 Snowboarding. This game is so good. I remember playing this game like a ton when I was a kid. And once again, N64 games are trickling their way onto the Switch. Maybe one day this game will come on there, but currently it's not. And for some reason, I just have a gut feeling that this is not high on the priority list of like games that they're going to put on there. They're going to put, you know, your more, you know, like, heck, Ocarina of Time, you know, your Zeldas, Mario Karts, you know, the big titles are going to go on there first. If they ever figure out what they need to do to get 007, they may do that if licensing ever works out. But because of that, games like 1080 are going to get lost. And I'm telling you, 1080 Snowboarding is super fun. If you're into games like this, then you definitely need to check it out. Look, I have no doubt that this game is going to go to the Nintendo Online service, but right now, as of recording this video, it is not, and that is Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards. I personally love this game. I know this game's kind of divisive, but I will say that this is one of my favorites. This is the first one that I remember. It may be the first one where you could combine powers, and that was super, super cool at the time. This is a fun game, just like all Kirby games, very easy game. But, you know, this is one that I really like. I will say that if you do want a Kirby game that is not on the Switch and you're not into Kirby 64, all of the GBA games are solid, and they're all on there. In fact, some of the DS games and Wii games are too. I just put this one because it's personally the one I really like, but I mean, there's a ton of Kirby games that you cannot get on the Switch that are on the Wii U, so definitely pry into that part of the library. So look, I'm going to round this out with a Super Nintendo game, and I had to put Super Mario RPG. This game is one of my favorite games ever. Once again, it's a game that's not currently on the Nintendo Switch Online service, and there's no other way to play it. I mean, I have a Super Nintendo cartridge of it, and of course I have it on the Wii U, and I'm telling you what, playing it upscaled through an HDMI natively is very easy, because not everyone like me has an RGB ready Super Nintendo and a FrameMeister upscaler and all that kind of crap. It's just way too much when you can just play it on your Wii U for like, I don't know, like $7 or $8 or whatever the hell it costs. It is great. Such a good game. If you've never played it, you need to play it. But, you know, like I said, I tried to include a bunch of games that potentially could be on the Switch, but currently aren't, and soon are going to be gone forever, and Mario RPG is like the biggest Super Nintendo omission I can possibly see that kind of has that same sort of discrepancy. Look, so when I got my Wii U going, I downloaded, purchased 78 games, and those were like ones that were just immediately jumped out to me of like, I really want these games. For the sake of this video not being the longest video on Earth, I narrowed it down to 10, just to like give you 10 good ones. Granted, like I said, most of them are GBA games because there is no other way conveniently to play these, especially on a TV. But, you know, there's some solid choices here, and I mean, I could honestly keep making videos like this. If you guys want more options from me, God, let me know. I'll make another video because, like I said, I got 78 games currently on my Wii U, and I have a lot of room for a lot more. So those are just a handful, I mean a tiny handful, and also only Virtual Console games. If you guys want to see kind of stuff that I think is worth getting, maybe on the digital front, or even like the full copies, you know, like stuff like Devil's Third or Zelda's or whatever for the Wii U, you know, let me know in the comments down below. I'll definitely make a video. But like I said, these are just like a hand-picked selection that I kind of came up with, stuff that I immediately got onto my Wii U. But there are way more out there. So, you know, anything that jumps out to you that maybe I didn't cover in this video, please put it in the comments below. Put any game you like, though specifically, I do, you know, kind of like the way this video was set up, I do want to put games that you you don't have an option to play anywhere on the Switch. But that said, I mean, you know, if you're a big fan of Mega Man 7 and you don't like the idea of having to download it on the Switch, then, you know, by all means, throw that in the comments. But, you know, hey, you know, let me know what you guys think. You know, share your game choices down there, and let me know if there's any sweet hidden gems that maybe I'm slipping on. That's going to do it for us today, guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. Man, I love making these videos. It's always fun hanging out with you guys. So please stay tuned for more. And as always, my friends, take it easy.